Okay, we're back. We're back, and we are live again. And it's later than usual. And the reason is I worked today with the daycare, and I called myself taking a nap around 6 this afternoon, and I did not wake up to 10 p.m. So normally the tuck-in time is somewhere around 10 to 10:30 because I actually am reading these right before I'm turning in for the night. So after I read this, I'm turning in for the night. So we're going to get it done. I feel like this is my assignment and I'm not going to skip a day. All right, so it's a little later, but nevertheless, we're reading through Iyanla Vanzant's book, One Day My Soul Just Opened Up. So the readings at Tuck in Time are books that I have read that have helped me on my healing journey. So if you just found me and this is your first time, my name is Shena Major and I'm a life coach, which means I help people heal from unhealthy relationships so they learn to love themselves. And I hope I don't burn this book with this candle right next to it. So that's what I'm about. And I realized I like to read at night, so why not read books to those of you who are listening that have helped me on my journey and share that with you. So that's what I'm doing. And this book is set up like a working book. So it has what we're going to be learning about, which tonight is creativity, and then it has a definition and commentary. And then it goes into like journal questions. So when I'm reading the journal, those are my words, not Iyanla's. Those are my words that I wrote based on what I read. And then it has a section for in the morning when you wake up, like morning meditation. And then it has some hi Tracian, and then it has a let me remember about what you read. And then it has some more questions and affirmations for the evening. So when I read those journal, those are my thoughts. When I look through the book, some days I didn't do the questions, so you'll get those comments hot off the press, hot off the press. So that's that. And I think we're going to get started. Um, yeah, I think we're going to get started. I think that's it. So here we go. I said we're on day 6, creativity, and this is One Day My Soul Just Opened Up by Iyanla Vanzant. I like that you read your old journal entries. Okay. See, I like to hear that feedback because it lets me know that, um, what did I hear someone say? When you're making these videos, isn't that what you want to do? It's what the people want. So if they help you, growing and learning based on what I experienced, and like I said, one entry, I think it was on day 1 or 2, um, was marked 2018. So it was, some years back. So we'll see what today brings. And here we go. Or this evening, whatever time it is for you. Day 6, honor the divine with creativity. Working definition. The principle we are working with today is creativity. It is the invisible force behind all things seen. The innate ability of a living element to recreate itself. The spiritual faculty of potentiality. The ability of human beings to bring forth onto the physical visible level that which is conceived at the mental level, consciously or unconsciously, and the emotional level. That's a lot. That's a lot. I'm trying to see if I can sum that up for you. Working with this create an invisible force behind all things seen. So I guess when you create, no one can see you creating. It's something invisible. It's something that you're doing from your imagination, your mind. So the spiritual faculty of potentiality. So meaning anything we create, we have the potential to bring forth. It has the potential to bring forth the ability of human beings to bring forth, okay, onto the physical, visible, which is considered at the mental level. So when you use your creativity, you're bringing something that isn't forward. You're bringing it to life. You're bringing it from a place of nothingness to a physical, tangible world. That's kind of like what God did, right? He was creative. He used his imagination. He said, "Let there be light," and there was. So he thought of that and he brought it forth. So that's cool. Tracy, it shows your growth and transparency. I appreciate, Tracy, it's hard, especially, I think about our group, ladies, and we're like the oldest, which is fine, but it does show growth, and it's good to be vulnerable. I think when we're vulnerable, that's how we grow. That's how I've grown. So that's good. All right, on creativity. God couldn't do everything. So the divine passed on to its children, that's you and I, the creative ability God has. Now, I underlined that back then, and I would underline it again today. That's so good. God couldn't do everything, so the divine passed on to its children the same creative ability God has. Now, we know God can do everything, but I'm believing she's trying to say God uses us, his hands and feet, to get the work done here on earth. Remember, go out into all the world. So, like you're in that school, you're on that grind in that school with those kids. So, he's using your hand and feet, Tracy, to go out and create opportunities for kids to see your light shine so that they come to you and you can lead them to Christ. You have a big mission field in the schools. Lord knows you do. God actually could have done it all, but if that had been the case, what would be left for you and me to do? Not very much. Instead, the divine infused us with the power to conceive, express, and enjoy the fruits of our creative power. That's so good. We create through thought, word, and deed. Although few instructions accompany this ability, it is conceivable that we are each here to reveal the creative ideal of the divine. This not only translates into artistic creativity, it also refers to our ability to create a world environment that is reflective of divine ideals such as love, peace, abundance, joy, harmony, and power. I think that last one is where we got a bit confused. Instead of using our power to create divinely, we create by default because we do not understand how to use our divine creative power. Life unfolds from the inside to the outside. I'm not really sure why, and I only think I know how. The how and why really don't matter. It does, just like you and I did. Many have explored the theory of creation and determined that it really does work. Whether we are talking about an apple tree that was planted from a seed or a human being that springs forth from a sperm and egg, there is a creative principle that brings life from inside darkness to the world of light. I think it is the same that people spend so much time. Oh, I read that wrong. I think it is a shame that people spend so much time arguing about how and why. It is time that could be much better spent teaching people how to use their potential. It's even bigger shame that intellectuals believe one must be properly trained and guided to develop their creative abilities. God gave every human being the ability to create. So what is it that you're creating today? I just threw that in there. That wasn't what she wrote. In his handbook to higher consciousness, a truly enlightened spiritual teacher named Ken Keyes wrote, "Your predictions and expectations are self-fulfilling. Since your consciousness, your thoughts, create your universe, all you have to do to change your world is to change your consciousness." When I first read this, I didn't have a clue. I thought it was some sort of hocus pocus. Think this thought and voila, what you want will appear. Of course, that didn't happen when I focused on winning the lottery. But after reading Shakti Gaiwane's Creative Visualization, Joel Goldsmith's Invisible Supply, and Charles Fillmore's Atom Smashing Power of the Mind, I came to realize and understand myself as a divine and creative being whose every thought is manifested as a tangible physical experience. Unfortunately, the stuff I was creating was a nightmare. So that was a lot. The ability to create is in our conscious thought. She refers to some books here: Creative Visualization, Invisible Supply, and Atom Smashing Power of the Mind. And if you go back to the Bible, it talks about, renewing and transforming our mind and taking on the mind of Christ. And I think that's the point she's getting across in that paragraph. Most of us develop a pattern of thinking and behavior we believe cannot be broken. And this channel, again, is about healing from our past and abuse and, just things that have happened to us, our parents or whatever. And we don't believe that we can change the way we think. Like, we really can change the way we think, and it changes the situations we're thinking about. I know I learned that I was able to look at my childhood differently when I changed how I thought about what happened to me. Most of us develop a pattern of thinking and behavior we believe cannot be broken. Our mother did it, her mother did it, now we do it. Sometimes we're lucky enough to get parents who say, don't make the same mistakes I did. Usually we don't. We make our own brand of mistakes because, like our mothers and fathers, we have not been taught the creative potential of our thoughts and emotions. Few of us are taught that within our beings are millions of seeds of potential. Our thought patterns and emotional responses germinate those seeds that ultimately grow into experiences. Hey, wait a minute. You mean what we are experiencing in our lives in the world today is a reflection of what we think? You've got it. Now let's take a moment to look around at what we have created. Generally speaking, there is a lot of hate in our world. Many blacks hate whites and vice versa. Some straights hate gays. Lots of Republicans hate liberals. The real Southerners hate the fast-talking, smart-mouthed Northerners. Almost everyone hates OJ for one reason or another. Some of the hate is born from anger. When people disagree with you, you get mad. When people hurt you, you get mad. When you cannot get someone to see things the way you see them, it is a human tendency to get really, really mad. If you make someone mad, they think they hate you. The truth is, they're proud of you. Fear is born of a lack of understanding, the need to control, and more important, the absence of love. Christians can't love the Muslims. Muslims can't love the Jews. It's actually not true that they can't love each other. It's just real hard to move beyond the labels. Boy, have we created some angry labels. Punk, the N word, the B word, bag, kike, dyke, spick, pig, baddie, skinny. You tag one of these labels on somebody and they are sure to get mad at you. If you say it aloud, you should probably be afraid. And you know what? You don't even have to say what you're thinking out loud. If you think it's hard enough, the object to which your thoughts are directed may hate you or be afraid of you and not be able to explain why. In some cases, people can actually feel what you think about them. That's deep. Let me get a drink. In some cases, people can actually feel what you think about them. That's just how powerful we are. Thought plus word plus action equal results. That is the creative process. In his book, Conversations with God, Uncommon Dialogue, Neil Dowland Walsh wrote, all creation begins with thought, proceeds from the Father. All creations move to word. Ask and you shall receive. Speak and it shall be done unto you. All creation is filled indeed. And the word was made flesh and dwelt among us. So those examples are in parentheses. The inherent power of creativity within human beings is never idle. When we are aware of the power, we use it constructively, like using fire to cook. When we are unaware of the power or doubt it exists, that same power becomes as destructive as an arsonist's tool. Every second of our lives, we are creating individually and collectively. I wrote here in the margin, be aware of my creative potential. That was March 23rd, 2019. So I was reading this chapter March 23rd, 2019. Because we are not taught that, what is this word? Efficacy of our creative potential, we often wait between belief and disbelief, using the power at times, forgetting its potency at others. We live by default, experiencing the results of what we think, but don't dare not say, of what we say mindlessly, that in turn evokes a fearful or unloving response from others, and of what we do in response to what we think someone else is doing or saying. Our thoughts unfold as words. Words inspire action. Action creates the environmental conditions we will experience. Hate, anger, disease, poverty, war, as well as joy, beauty, and the abundance of any good thing are done unto us according to the formula of creativity etched into our DNA by the divine. I personally do not want to take responsibility for the business of the IRS, corruption in the government, homelessness in Los Angeles, murder in Detroit, or hunger in Somalia. I can hardly face the fact that I am responsible for not paying the mortgage on time. I am sure we can all find reasons, explanations, excuses outside of ourselves that rationally explain many of the challenges we face in life. Yet, as my spiritual growth and understanding evolves, I cannot evade the fact that I am made in the image and likeness of the divine. I am creative. My mind is linked to the mind of the divine by virtue of my breath. Mind produces ideas that are crystallized as thoughts. I do get angry, afraid, and sometimes downright hateful in response to limited ego-based perceptions. I have said and done things in response to those perceptions that, I must admit, have adversely affected my children, my mate, my employee, driver in front of or behind me. My energy ripples out like a stone dropped in a pond and impacts other people. It is true about me and it is true about you. It is also true that we have created a pretty ugly world. There's a very simple creation process that puts our innate creativity to much better use. Start each day by seeing it the way you would want it to be. Let's read that again. I started back in 2019. Start each day by seeing it the way you would want it to be. See yourself handling every responsibility peacefully and effectively. Trust that even when the results you desire do not show up immediately, they will eventually show up. See yourself moving through the day with a smile on your face and joy in your heart. Since the people around you may not be reading this book, you will have to see them responding to your peace and joy and kind. In those moments when you are caught off guard, made angry or frightened, pray immediately for correction. Remember, you are a very creative force. Do not add thought, word, or deed to a destructive situation. Stand there and pray. Call in the light of peace, of love, of divine. Use your creativity to honor the divine by calling forth its energy in the places it is needed. It will not always be easy, but remember, the more damaging and destructive a person behaves, the greater is their cry for healing and correction. Only the divine can heal or correct. Using you as its device of creativity, the divine can transform any situation into a corrective healing experience. Be willing to be used as a creative instrument of divine healing and evolution. Now that was a good word. And there's so many things in there. Tracy, I'm here, coach, just closing my eyes and listening. Well, that's good. That's what I want for talking time. Everybody just settle down from the day. Like, let's just settle down. And hopefully the books I'm bringing to you will bring calm and peace over you as you're listening right before bed, at that time at night as we're winding down. So now I'm going to move into the commentary journal. And this is what I wrote using the prompts that Iyanla Vanzant wrote. She says, after reading today's commentary, I realize I can create the day I want to have. I can handle every responsibility peacefully. I can see myself first, moving through it with joy in my heart and a smile on my face. The key phrase or phrases I want to remember and work today are thought plus word plus action equal results. Our thoughts unfold words. Words inspire action. Action creates the environmental condition we all experience. The third thing I wrote was realize my creative potential. I will not wait between belief and disbelief. Right. Let me get some of my tea. The next action is morning creativity affirmation. I am the creative power of the divine at work. I choose to be an expression of good, of peace, of joy, and abundance. The divine thinks by means of me. My thoughts are clear. The divine expresses itself in my heart. My heart is open to the goodness of life. The divine creates, heals, restores, and builds through every action I take. My eyes, ears, hands, and feet are instruments of the divine. Today, I rejoice in advance for all the good I am creating through right thinking, an open, loving heart, and divine right action. For all of this and more, I am so grateful, and so it is. And these affirmations are really good. They're something that you can repeat as I'm saying them in your own mind as you are falling asleep. As you're falling asleep. The next section says, let me remember. The divine formula of creativity is thought plus word plus deed equals results. Every thought is a creative tool. My outer world is a creative reflection of my inner world. I can change my mind at any time. I have the power to consciously choose what I think. All right, now the last section is the evening creativity journal, and I did not journal that day. So let's see what my response is in this moment. What I created in my world today was Well, I think I made space for me to rest today because I was tired. I recognized I was tired, and instead of pushing through with my evening agenda, I laid down to rest, even though a 30-minute nap turned into about 4 hours. All right, the next prompt said, what I intend to create in my life tomorrow is. What I intend to create in my life tomorrow is being more, um, what's the word I want? Being more caring, I think. Being more understanding. I have to remember that the children that are in my care are God's children, and just to be able to hear them, even when I don't understand them, because sometimes they're saying things and I don't understand what they're saying, but just to create a more intentional space of listening and honoring those tiny little people. The next one and the last journal prompt says, what I intend to create in the world is. What I intend to create in the world is just a space. I'm thinking about YouTube now, for people to be able to come and see that there's nothing real special about me, but there really is, because I'm created by God, and that I can create a safe place for people to heal from the pain of their past and grow and just find joy in being who they are and living the life that God designed for them, not the one that torments them, not the one that has so much pain and just bad memories. So just learning how to create, a different life by how we think. The way we think can change our life if we allow our creativity to come through. So that is the end of our reading today. I'm so thankful that you joined me tomorrow night. The word is peacefulness, so that should be a good one for going going on to bed. Okay. So with that said, thank you. Always remember that true healing begins with self-love, and we'll be right back in here tomorrow to tuck you in. All right. Good night.